If you're watching this video, chances are there's something you're supposed to be doing right now, and you're here instead. Welcome! Glad you made it. Here's the thing, this isn't your fault, but your brain is sabotaging you every single day, quietly, perfectly, without you even noticing. What we call procrastination isn't laziness. It's not a time management problem either. Science is pretty clear on this. It's an emotion management problem. When you put something off, you're not avoiding the task, you're avoiding the feeling that task brings up in you. In a few minutes, you'll see exactly how your brain pulls this off. And we're going to talk about 10 reasons where you'll probably think, oh wow, that's literally me. By the way, this channel covers psychology like this every single week. If this kind of content speaks to you, consider subscribing. You don't want to miss what's coming. Let's get into it. 1. Your brain doesn't care about your future self. You tell yourself, I'll do it tomorrow. Sounds reasonable, but here's what's actually happening in your brain. Functional MRI studies found that when people think about their future selves, the brain region that activates is the same one that activates when imagining a complete stranger. Your brain doesn't see the future version of you as actually you. It sees someone else entirely. So loading all your tasks onto that person feels easy. They'll handle it, you think, even though that person is you. 2. You want to start perfectly, so you never start at all. I'll start, but I'll start right. And that right moment never comes. The desk is messy, your head is full. The weather is too nice or too gloomy. The music isn't right, the coffee went cold. Researcher Fuchsia Sirois studied this for years and found that perfectionists tie the outcome of their work directly to their personal worth. The equation in their head reads, bad work equals bad person. Not starting feels safer than starting and failing. But as long as you don't start, your chance of failing is also zero. The brain treats this as a clever strategy, and you fall for it without even realizing. 3. When a task is vague, the brain freezes. Write the report. Okay, which report? Where do you start? How long? What format? When the brain can't see a clear target, the small dopamine spark needed to get moving simply doesn't fire. Vagueness gets processed as a threat. Threat equals avoid. Avoid equals pick up the phone. Pick up the phone equals an hour is gone. No laziness here. Just a lack of clarity. 4. You're not postponing the task, you're postponing the feeling. Pay close attention to this one. It changes everything. A joint study by Timothy Pitchell and Fuchsia Sirois found that procrastination isn't a time management issue, it's an emotion regulation issue. What do you feel when you think about that task? Discomfort? Anxiety? Boredom? The brain redirects you to something else to escape that feeling. Technically, you're not postponing the work, you're postponing the feeling the work brings up. But the work doesn't go anywhere, it just piles up and grows. And the bigger it gets, the worse the feeling. So you avoid it more. The loop closes, and you're stuck right in the middle. If you just thought, this is exactly my problem, then this channel was made for you. Subscribe and don't miss the next one. 5. Dopamine has a shortcut, and you've learned to use it. Every notification, every reel, every just a quick look delivers an instant hit of dopamine. Finding the motivation to sit down and work on something long-term gets harder and harder because your brain is already getting fed from somewhere else. Think about it. Why would you sit down for something tedious when your phone gives you instant pleasure? The brain conserves energy, and conserving energy always means taking the easy path. This isn't your weakness. It's an evolutionary program millions of years in the making. But it's important to recognize when that program is no longer working for you. 6. By the end of the day, your decision-making capacity is gone. From morning to night, you're making dozens of small decisions. What to wear, what to eat, who to reply to, which task to tackle first. Roy Baumeister's research on willpower shows that decision-making capacity works like a muscle. It fatigues with use. By the time you tell yourself, okay, Now I'll sit down and tackle the hard stuff. Your brain is running on its lowest energy. Can't do it in the morning, no motivation. Can't do it at night, no energy. At noon, you're thinking, almost evening anyway. And so it goes. 7. You don't genuinely feel why that task matters. Tasks that don't come from within, ones you can't make meaning of, are so much easier to put off. There's a concept in psychology called self-concordance, how much a task aligns with your real values and goals. When it doesn't align, every attempt to sit down becomes a battle. The brain can't find an answer to, why does this actually matter to me? And can't generate enough fuel to move. To understand why you're procrastinating, you first need to understand why it matters. 8. Your goal is too abstract. The brain responds to concrete things. I'm going to get my life together. Great, but that's not a goal, that's a wish. Gabriela Oettingen's research shows that simply fantasizing about a goal doesn't drive action. Sometimes it actually does the opposite. The brain starts to feel like the dream has already happened and relaxes. Career is abstract. I'm going to open my CV right now and update 2 lines, is concrete. The brain responds to the second one. The first one just feels good. 9. You've told yourself, I'll do it this time, before, and didn't. And your brain recorded that. This might be the quietest reason, but it hits the hardest. If you've ever started a task with, this time I'm really going to do it, and then didn't, your brain learned a pattern. I can't do this kind of thing. Every time a similar task comes up, that pattern kicks in. And over time, it stops being a habit. It becomes part of your identity. You start saying, I'm just that kind of person. Once that sentence is built, procrastination is no longer just a habit. It becomes part of who you are. And changing who you are feels so much harder than changing a habit. 10. Your engine only runs under pressure, and you've gotten used to that. How many people do you know who say, I work better at the last minute? Maybe you're one of them, and honestly, it's not completely wrong. Last-minute pressure does work. Spikes in adrenaline and cortisol can genuinely sharpen focus. But what happens long-term? Research shows that chronic last-minute workers experience higher stress levels, lower quality output, and more serious health problems over time. The brain learns, I work when there's pressure, but every time it costs a little more. So after all of this, what are you feeling? Hopefully that, oh wow, that's me, feeling. Because feeling that is actually the beginning of something important. None of this is about your character. It's about how your brain works. And brains can change. Habits can be broken. Cycles can be reversed. But first, you needed to know what you were actually dealing with. Now you do. If this video was useful, you don't want to miss what's next. Subscribe, turn on notifications. New content drops every week. And drop a comment. Which reason hit you the hardest?